Stabby.
And I'm Caitlin, and today we will be covering the first three novellas in the Mindfuck series by Stabby.
God rest her soul.
Yes, unfortunately, she has passed away tragically. I think like a
In
couple years ago.
2001. Yeah.
2001?
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry, 2021.
Okay. I thought it was 2021. So I
Yeah,
was like,
2021, not 2001.
help. I was
Not
good Lord.
literally 22 years ago.
Yeah, recently. So yeah, I'm excited to cover these books. They're a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Um
Well, I don't know if fun is like the word I would use, but
Yeah, me either, but I'm leaving it. Um, so I'm going to read the back of the book. It's the book where they're all combined into one. So it says, monsters can come in many forms. They took too much, left too little. I had nothing to lose until him. I didn't expect him. I didn't want to fall in love, but I can't let him go. Logan Bennett makes the world a safer place. He's brilliant. He's a hero. He locks away the sick and depraved. But while he's saving lives, I'm taking them, collecting the debts that are owed to me. 10 years ago, they took from me. They left me for dead. They should have made sure I stayed dead. Now I'm taking from them, one name at a time. I've trained for too long. I've been patient. I can't stop now. Revenge is best served cold. They never see me coming until I paint their walls red. Logan doesn't know how they hurt me. He doesn't know about the screams they ignored. He doesn't know how twisted that town really is. He just knows people are dying. He doesn't know he's in love with their killer. No one suspects a dead girl, and Logan doesn't suspect the girl in his bed. They're looking for a monster, not a girl who loves red, not a girl in love. I'm a faceless nightmare, at least until I tell them the story they've pretended never happened. But in the end, will Logan choose them or will we watch them burn together?
that was at least 52 separate sentences.
Yeah, I feel like that could have been shortened for sure. That pretty much gives you a good idea of what's going on.
That is the whole book, the whole series.
Yeah, so yeah, you don't even need to read it. Just kidding. So what would you rate the first three novellas?
I did rate the first three kind of lower than I did the last two. I gave them a 6.5 out of 10. So the general theme of the book, or the books together were really, really good. I thought it was like a very refreshing, like theme, and that was awesome.
Mhm.
However, it was very like repetitive, a little cringy. I think we'll talk about this a little bit later. There were, a lot of like errors with editing, which when you're a self-published author, it's bound to happen for sure, but there were a lot.
Yeah. And
Um,
it got to be a little bit distracting every once in a while, so it kind of takes away points for me. So I agree. I rated them a little bit lower than the last two. I would rate these like a 7 out of 10 because I do love the concept, but like some of it also kind of felt like like bad Wattpad,
yeah,
which again, we'll kind of talk about things that we didn't like, but yeah, that I feel like those things are the only things that kind of took
but
away.
it wasn't bad by
Yeah.
any means.
No, I would definitely say it was good and I enjoyed it. I just think that there are things that if they
Could
had
have
been
been
better,
done
then
better.
it would have made it like great for me.
Yeah, for sure. The characters were very like awesome in this book. I really did enjoy most of them. So the main character of this whole series is Lana, aka Victoria Evans. So she is just like a bad bitch.
Yeah. Like honestly, well, I really liked that she felt very, again, I'm going to use the word Wattpad, but she felt very Wattpad MC to me,
Yeah.
but I liked her. And a lot of times, like when you get that vibe, you don't really like the MC that much. I liked her.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Cause like I feel like a lot of the time when you get a very damaged main female character like that, you also get like just the really unfortunate, like, oh, I'm super weird and no one could ever like me and I'm not like all the other girls type of thing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get that a whole lot from Lana. It was more just like I've got a one track mind. Like, I am very focused on this. Like, I am here to
Yeah.
accomplish this task and this task alone. And it's
Which to
like,
me is like boss babe.
So
Okay.
yeah, absolutely, girl. I love that you
Really?
have a plan. And it's not just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, why would this super hot, like FBI agent ever be interested in little old me? She's like, no, I know I'm hot. Like
She's
I paid
like,
a lot of money for this face.
yeah, like whenever the first like FBI agent comes over, Craig, and like tries to hit on her, she's like, fuck the absolute fuck off, my good sir.
She's like, I know what I'm about, Craig.
And she even goes to tell off Logan because he like paid for her coffee or whatever. And then she ends up being like, oh, but he kind of cute though.
And he was funny. Like Logan, as much as like sometimes his character is also super cringy, he is a very funny, likable character.
Yes, agreed.
I do also
Um,
like that she's kind of like multidimensional too, because it's like a lot of the time you're like, how do these people have this money? Like, how do they do all these things? It seems very unrealistic, but it's like they started their own business and like they do like a bunch of side stuff. And it's like, I don't know, she's just a cool character mixed with Jake.
yeah. Plus, whenever she did like kind of take over that girl's identity, Kennedy Carlisle, she kind of like hustled some money that way
She
too.
came into a lump sum of money.
Yeah, and I thought that was so badass because it like really set them up for success in their revenge plan, and I love that for them. A couple of boss babes. So next we'll talk about Logan, and honestly, I love him. So he is giving himbo. We know he's hot,
He
and
is
he
a
is so
himbo.
fucking oblivious. It's amazing.
He's so dumb.
Yeah. He's
He's
like
so
dumb, but he's
smart, but
not.
so dumb.
Yeah, for sure.
He's just like, wow, red flags, never heard of her. I'm in love with this woman. And it's like, there were a lot of red flags, man.
Yes. And he even was like, wow, something changed in her eyes. Like they've gone cold.
Anyway, it's
Oh my
like, don't know
God.
what that could possibly be about.
He's
Oh, wow, you're being targeted, like, and you got out alive. Like, you're super lucky.
Yeah, he's like, oh wow, you like luckily stabbed this gigantic man and he's way more bruised than you are. That's crazy.
That's actually wild.
Yeah.
Must
He's
be from
like, how
something else.
fortunate. And he's like, wow, you really had an angel watching over you.
Bless his heart. I just felt so fulfilled by the fact that he was just actively searching for like who Lana, like the Scarlet Angel, like
Yeah.
this whole book. And Lana is just like, yeah, here, let me help you look too. Like,
Yeah, honestly, like it's such a good plot. I love the plot. And I think I'm sure that this plot maybe exists elsewhere in literature or media of some sort, but
oh
I've
yeah,
never read it.
I loved it.
It
What a
was
cool
so
plot.
good to me. Yeah. 10 out of 10 for plot.
Uh, Jake, precious
Jake.
angel baby Jake. So, what I love about Jake is that not only is he a ride or die, but he also is just very self aware of the mistakes he's made in the past. So, I mean, he talks a little bit in all of the books about how he maybe wasn't the best, partner when it came to Victoria's brother and how he kind of like loved him in the shadows type thing. And
Hmm.
until he was gone, he didn't realize like how much he really needed him.
Yeah.
And so I am glad that he ended up, being there for Lana and like helps her, with this plot with, getting revenge because it's the way he feels like he can honor Marcus's memory.
Yeah, because it honestly breaks my heart too, because of course he was scared to love Marcus out in the open because that town that they lived in was horrifying.
Scary, yeah.
And like we see what happens to Victoria and Marcus, and we don't really get like the details until like the later novellas, but it's horrifying. And I'm sure that Jake would have been attacked that night as well if he was there or if he had openly
Just by
um
association, yeah.
yeah. So I don't like blame him at all for what he did. Also, they were so young. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at 17, like, it's that was his first real love, and
yeah.
I don't think he
And of
really
course, like
understood the
if people are telling you like they would have been in that town, they're like telling you that that's wrong and like you can't love that person, then you wouldn't have had like the confidence and the self-assuredness to go against that. You know what I
right.
mean? Especially at that age.
Well, and especially in that town, which we will talk about more in the next episode. But
Yes.
I do feel very bad for him. My heart breaks for him, but I
I
do
know.
think he is a very like he had a lot of redemption.
Oh, yes, especially in the last
So
novella.
good.
Yeah, so really, we're only going to talk about one more character for the first three because the other characters don't really come into play until like the end, to be honest. But Hadley, when she was first introduced, I did not like her. I was like, this bitch is going to be a problem because she comes and she like confronts Lana about like her identity and her name change and all that stuff. But honestly, she was just like looking out for Logan. She's a true friend.
I know.
So,
I was like, mind your fucking business. Like, my God.
but like to be honest, like Logan's ignoring all the red flags, but she's a
Yeah.
real one. So she's like, no, I'm gonna look into this.
Well, at
So I
first I
kind
was
of
like, is she
respect
just
it.
like jealous? But I was like, no, she actually just genuinely cares.
She actually is just scared because Lana is like
She
rightfully
should
so.
be. Like, that was a good call on her part.
But then later on, like when she understands the truth of what's going on, when she's like witnesses what Lana does to the boogeyman, and then realizes that Lana is the one that killed her ex stepfather, she realizes what is really going on. And she, like, and we're going to talk more about like morally gray
Just
characters
an
and anti-heroes.
unbreakable loyalty to her after that.
Yeah, she is like, you know what, you're right. And I really loved that like complexity that it brought to her character because at first, like, I really was not vibing with her. I was like, I don't trust her. But then, like, there's that solidarity.
Well, and what I think I like too is that even though she's very unwavering in Lana's cause, she's like, you're doing the right thing. She's like, I still think you're maybe not the best person. And I
Yes.
can respect that because she's
Yeah.
like, hey, you're like a little aggressive sometimes.
Yeah. No,
And I
I
think that
mean,
really balances Lana out.
it's so true because, like, in later novellas, whenever she's like pissed at someone else on their team, Hadley is like, "You, hey, just so you know, you cannot murder her."
You
Like,
cannot be killing people for fun.
and she's like, "You're right, you're right." Love it.
Love that for her. So some things that we liked about this novella. There are a lot of really, really good things about the first three. We already talked a little bit about the plot, but we love a good forbidden romance. This one was just a little different though,
Yeah,
because it's like she doesn't want to let herself get attached to this man who is actively, trying to put her behind bars because she knows exactly how this is going to end.
yeah.
But she can't help but loving him, and that's so beautiful.
It's honestly so sweet. She's like not willing to give up her revenge, which I respect. And she's like, but honestly, you know what? I deserve a little bit of happiness in my life while I
And
can.
she does.
And she does. And I love that in this particular dynamic that the serial killer is a woman. I just
Yes.
think that's like fun, feminist, totally
Well,
amazing.
and like she's not a total bitch either. Like I said, she's just
Yeah.
like
She's not stuck up. She's not
she's just
pretending.
passionate.
She's very passionate. She's a romantic, as she likes to say,
She is a
which
romantic.
honestly, I am too. I
Yeah,
get it.
I love that.
The girls that get it, get it. I also loved like the readability of this series because they're so short,
Yes.
which I think it like breaks them up into good little chunks. And I also love how all of the ones like leading up to the last one, they all end on good cliffhangers. And it just like
Yes.
really pushes the series forward.
Well, and I think there really is something to be said about not drawing out your books. Like, I
Yes.
feel like so many, like, especially with like a fantasy genre, like, so many authors, like, if I don't hit like a minimum of 800 pages, is this even worth it? Because most of that's going towards like world building and
Yeah.
whatever. Like, you have to have that for sure, but like, it could very much be cut by a quarter for
Yeah,
every
because
book.
we talked about like in the second Crescent City novel,
It
how
was
that book
so
could have
long.
been 500 pages shorter. This series, like, it kept things moving, it kept things interesting. And part of that reason was because it didn't drag things on.
Yeah,
So,
just giving you like a little taste in each book and like leaving me wanting more.
yeah, I loved it.
I also am just like a huge Dexter stan,
Yes.
and this was definitely giving Dexter vibes, very reminiscent of that. And so I think it was really cool to be able to see, kind of that genre put into a literary form.
I agree. And I think like it's kind of fun because it's like Dexter, but it's not the same, because
No.
like in Dexter, he's in the FBI as well, but the one that he's really keeping it from the most is his sister,
Right.
rather than like a romantic interest. And so I think that really kind of like it adds like a different level of again, I'm going to use the word complexity for lack of a better word right now, but like it just like makes it so much more interesting. Like the person
Yeah.
that's supposed to know everything about you, like the person that you're sleeping with doesn't know that you're the serial killer they're looking for. It's just like amazing.
Definitely. No, I love the draws that you could see between the two. It's very, very
Yes.
exciting. I also love that even though like there are some very, very heavy topics being talked about in the novellas themselves, like she managed to add in like super very like sweet, kind moments between the two main characters. Like I love a good meet cute at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
I love that. And like I think it was also like nice for the main character to have that sense of normalcy that she never has in her life.
I 100% agree. Like, I loved the normalcy that would be like kind of sprinkled in, but also on a more fun note, I loved the humor that was in there as well.
Yeah.
Because the humor itself was kind of dark, but it was funny, which actually I feel like that's a good segue. So before we started this recording, I spent a good like, I don't know, 10 minutes looking for this like specific quote. So for context, this is when Detective Duke is staying with Lana and the boogeyman is like, on the loose. And so he's staying there and teaching her some self-defense. So basically, Lana knows more than him, but she can't let him know that because she's supposed to be normal. So she said, if you're going to choke someone face to face, you give them zero room between your bodies. But I obviously don't point that out. A good, sane, non stabby girl wouldn't know that. And like, I giggled so hard at the like term non stabby girl. And I was just like, she's so real for that.
She was tickled.
But that kind of like leads us into what Tabby pointed out to me. And I'm so dense, but the pen name St. Abby is Stabby.
And she does that on purpose because all of her dark romances, stuff like that, she always uses the pen name St. Abby.
I'm just so tickled by that. I honestly love it.
It's so cute. In terms of, things we didn't really like, there's a lot of focus on obviously like the mutilation, like the actual murders, and like it is very descriptive. And when I first started this, like it was definitely marketed more as like a smut or something like that. And like you didn't get a lot of that, but I did read how to very thoroughly castrate someone.
Yeah, I think that was what was most upsetting to me is like how detailed the torture and murder scenes were. And then whenever they were having sex, it was like,
It was basically a fade to black.
bleh. Yeah,
And
like I needed something to balance out the horrors that I just read, but oh
it's like
well.
maybe if we could have just put like and like I know it's not all about the smut or whatever, but it's like I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, and like I would be okay even if there wasn't a lot of smut. I think I could have just done with less graphic detail about the torture. Personally.
No, I
Um,
agree.
but I get it. I mean, it is a horror romance. Like
Yeah.
I understand it's supposed to be horrifying at times. So I'm not like yeah, like I get it.
But I was
Uh,
just like, ew, that's making me sick to my stomach.
yeah, there were some creepy parts. And we already mentioned there's some editing things that could have, been cleaned up. But there are also some award-winning, cringe-worthy lines. And I'm just going to use an example. I think this is actually from the last novella, but it pretty much sums up the issue I was having throughout all of them. But this particular line says, my bestie is awesomely paranoid like that. And it was just giving 2014 Tumblr. It was giving like the nerdy glasses and emo haircut. And I just like, it's giving roar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and I just hated like how when she couldn't think of like a better descriptive word, she always used awesome.
Yeah. So awesome.
It's so awesome.
So awesome. You know what's not awesome? the word awesome.
Agreed. Especially
But
1,200 times in a 98-page novella.
yeah, and like not to come for her too hard, but like yeah, those are some things that I think like if they had been cleaned up, this book really would have gone from good to great for me. So,
Yeah.
um yeah, that was kind of like the list of things we didn't like as much. There is some symbolism that's more prevalent in the first three novellas. Like we'll start with the color red, which it I mean it goes throughout all of the novellas, but it represents like the crimes committed against Victoria and Marcus. Like the reason why she paints a wall red is because their blood was running in the streets, and it kind of represents her like taking control of that situation and like her anger and revenge at the crimes that were committed against her. And then the wax apple and nails. I love the nails.
Me
Okay,
too.
because obviously, like to her, they symbolize something really tragic, which is that the police, like whenever they falsely accused her father of being a killer, they actually murdered him brutally. And part of that involved making him swallow nails. But what I really love is like it reminds me of like those travel maps when you put a little pin in all the places
Yeah.
you've been, but really it's just her way of being able to cross the name off of her kill list without having it be like incriminating.
Right.
So I love it so much. I think it's like a cute little, I think of
I
like,
love that she takes it with her everywhere.
yeah, she's like nothing to see here.
We are going to just follow up everything with a couple discussion questions or some things that came up while we were reading the book that we were just curious about. The first one we have here is, if you were Victoria, do you think you could have survived and turned into Lana to avenge your family?
I don't
No,
think I'd have it in me.
no, I couldn't. No, unfortunately, I think I would have succumbed to my wounds immediately.
Yeah, first of all, if I even
I
live,
would not have made it out of the hospital.
let's just pretend that we do. If I would have lived, I would have been so traumatized and so hurt that I would have just tried to live my life with what little peace I could find.
I don't even know if I could have done that.
I just would have tried my best to move on. I would not have gone on this killing spree.
No, the second I made a new name, like, yeah, that would have been it for me.
Yeah, because like also she was able to, with the help of Jake, like take over this identity that kind of helped her come into some money to like rebuild her life. And so I would have just been content with that. I'd be like, Jake, come away with me, and we would go
And he
somewhere else.
totally would have.
Yeah, we would go somewhere else.
It would have been so nice. So yeah, no, I would not have survived.
Like even if my brother was like avenge, like I would be like,
No,
sorry,
you silly goose. Like,
cannot do
I'm not
that.
doing that.
Like I'm
Rest
sorry.
easy, King.
You're just gonna have to haunt me, bro. I don't know.
No, I'm a little wiener.
Yeah. Same. So our second question is, if you were a law enforcement officer, do you think you would be empathetic toward a killer like Lana if you like knew the whole truth?
Yes, because I feel like this is kind of one of those morally gray areas where
Mhm.
the law is not always the right way. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like it's very black and white when there's a lot of, extenuating circumstances that come into play. And I feel like if they weren't going to, follow the rules set by the law, then it's perfectly fine for her to take that into her own hands.
Yeah, because like in this particular story, the law was part of the problem because the law was corrupt. And so it's like if I were like a law enforcement officer that wasn't involved in that original situation, like I would look at it and I'd be like, I get it. Like I
Yeah, it's
understand.
like I feel like she's probably justified in that.
I would too. Which, to be
Absolutely.
honest, I would never be a law enforcement officer anyway because I'm too cool for that. But
For sure, for sure.
I ain't no narc.
Would you ever be able to date an FBI agent like Logan, where he's always on call and needing to leave in the middle of your plans? No.
I would not. I would be so mad all the time. I would be like, you never make time for me. I never get to see you.
I
So
am
mad.
such a little baby.
Yeah.
And like when I need, like, I love like quality time together.
Mhm.
That's like one of my love languages. So no, that would kill me a little bit inside.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it. And then I also would be like with Logan's job specifically, there are times when he's like literally in danger. And so I would also just like always be freaked out.
Yeah. It's like that's just not for me. Really glad for the ones who find their true loves where they're fine with that, but it ain't me.
Yeah, it would be a deal breaker. Like, I'm not saying I wouldn't like try if I truly was like
I
in love
don't
with
think I
someone who had a
would.
job, but I wouldn't try for long because I would be like, I just can't do this.
Yeah, it's like no, know what you need,
Yeah.
It's better for
Never
both of you.
settle, girly.
Girly.
And then
Um,
our last discussion question. Hypothetically, do you think you could get away with murder?
maybe. Hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
I think if it was premeditated, if I had some time to really think about it, maybe. If
See,
it's
the
like
thing is,
spur of the
like,
moment, no.
I don't think like in this day and age, it would be so hard. Like if it was the 1950s, yeah. 1970s even, yeah. Maybe even 1990s, maybe. But
Oh,
like,
yeah, I mean they got away with a lot in the 90s.
yeah, because forensics was kind of like in the
I
80s.
think it
And so it's
depends on
like,
like the town you live in too. If it is it a small
true.
town? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could get away with
And like
murder.
the thing is, I feel like the only way that you could get away with murder in this day and age is if it was like completely random
And
and
no one
you never
suspected
did
it.
it again. Like I feel like you could only do it once and get away with it. And
And
you
it
have
would
like
have
a
to
clean
be
record.
like just the most random person too. Like it could not be someone you're tied to like in any way.
It would have to be like truly random. Like you couldn't even like pick them out as a victim. You would have to like close your eyes, spin around with your finger out,
And
and
grab the
whoever you
first
landed on.
person you see.
Yeah, like it would have to be so random. You couldn't even be like, I'm gonna do that person because then it's like, okay, well, psychologically, there could be reasons that you chose that person, you picked that person out of a crowd. No, it has to be random.
Yeah, because there's actually no such thing as random in your brain. Your brain is always going to make some sort of connection.
Yeah, because your brain is not a computer. And that's okay.
And you shouldn't murder people either.
And
It's
yes,
like, let's preface
I
this
do
by
want to
saying,
preface
like,
this by
you
saying,
really shouldn't murder people.
and I also want to preface this by saying, I say preface this, we've already said everything,
Let me
but
just, like, really quick preface this again.
I want to follow up by saying, I would never murder anyone. Like I just wouldn't go out of my way to murder anyone ever.
Yeah,
The
and like
only
in
time,
response to that,
like, I could see myself like maybe being in a situation where like self-defense, I ended up killing someone, but like even that, I don't think I could do
I
it.
don't know if I could.
I think, not to like mark myself as an easy target, but like, I think I don't have what it takes to survive. Um, will I try my best? Yes.
Yeah,
Will my best be enough?
no,
Probably
it's not
not.
going to be much.
I have a lot to live for though, so I don't know. Maybe I'll surprise myself.
It's like I am not strong or fast, but I am small, and I do think I could easily hide and just avoid the situation.
Yeah, I think that would be best bet for me is just to try to get away
I
somehow.
do think I could probably pro hide somewhere.
Yeah. I do know though that a lot of times they say like even if you're not good at fighting, like still fight back because a lot of times like if someone's trying to like nab you off the street,
And
they
you make
don't
like a
want
ruckus.
it. Yeah, like they don't want it to draw attention to them. Like they're looking for someone who's gonna like freeze up and like go with them. So
Also, it's like if it is my home, there are so many ways to exit my upstairs that it's like I think I'd be okay.
yeah. And like where all those exits are and they wouldn't. So it's like, I think we got this.
Yeah. I think I could do it
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
long as it's not like me interacting with them in any way.
Yeah, like they do need to be far enough away that I can be sneaky and they don't know exactly where I'm going.
But in conclusion, no, I don't think I could get away with murder.
Yeah, same. Um, so yeah, those are our discussion questions. The FBI listening to this episode,
Yeah,
like,
no, I would never do that. So,
I really, truly, I wouldn't. I'm not lying to you. Would I ever?
no.
Um, so join us next week. We're going to be discussing morally gray characters. and antiheroes in literature.
Because
So
there
that'll
is
be
a
fun.
difference. And then the week after that, we are going to be wrapping up the Mindfuck series with books 4 and 5, which are super, super exciting. We are very ready to talk about those.
Because we even kind of prefer those a little bit. So we'll talk to you next week. And as always,
Let's get lit.